This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z.
The people in power had gave that reign to Diddy, and Jay was next in line. So to separate him, when in fact they may be two of the same, but because Jay-Z is low-key, that low-key sneaky shit, and Diddy is, and was, rambunctious, just out with it. It don't mean that they're not two of the same.
Well, this woman accusing you of being at a restaurant when a woman passed out and disappeared? I don't know, man. I'm a little confused when it comes to the story, but I'm sure you heard about it, right? I don't know.
Accusing who? Accusing who? Me? Man, listen here, bro. Check it.
The legal troubles surrounding Diddy are escalating, with Jay-Z now implicated in a new lawsuit connected to the disgraced music mogul. While Jay-Z's attorney has presented evidence supporting his client's innocence, public interest in the case continues to grow. Adding to the controversy, Jane Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, has made fresh allegations against the Roc-A-Fella legend. The lawsuit alleges that in 2000, when Jane Doe was 13, Combs and Carter assaulted her at a house party following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. According to the claim, a friend dropped her off at Radio City Music Hall, where the VMAs were held, even though she didn't have a ticket. She reportedly approached limousine drivers in hopes of accessing a show or an after-party. One driver, allegedly working for Combs, told her she matched what Diddy was looking for and invited her to a party after the event. The suit states that she returned to the driver's car later that evening after he had transported Combs.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but one, I got
the 99 Problems rapper is adding one more problem to his list. In an amended civil complaint, Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, is now being accused of drugging and a 13-year-old girl after party following the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. The lawsuit was originally filed in October against Sean Diddy Combs, now refiled to openly name Jay-Z as his alleged co-conspirator. Combs is currently behind bars pending trial on federal charges including trafficking.
For Jay-Z, this presents a very difficult situation because unlike Sean Combs, Jay-Z doesn't have the opportunity to say that he's being charged criminally and that this civil case should be paused. Instead, this case could go forward and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Jay-Z has been famously married to Beyonce for 16 years. They have 3 children together. Today, Jay-Z denying all allegations, saying in part, "My only heartbreak is for my family," adding, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?"
I would say this, it's kind of funny to me, man, is that Diddy used to hate Jay-Z. He hated Jay-Z enough when he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay-Z. This is back in the early 2000s. And one day, Asler, Kushner, Diddy, and myself went to a Nets game and we met Jay-Z. I've never been a Jay-Z fan, like some of his music, the whole 9 yards. But when we went over to the, I think that was Prudential Center in Newark, and him and Puff met up, it was strange to me. Because I remember what Puff was trying to do. And then both of them, they was talking about something amongst each other, amongst all of us, and laughing and joking with each other. Then over the years, I see them giving garden parties. You understand what I'm saying? You could tell that the people in power had gave that reign to Diddy, and Jay was next in line. So to separate him, when in fact they may be two of the same, but because Jay-Z is low-key, that low-key sneaky and Diddy is and was rambunctious, you know, just out with it. It don't mean that they not two of the same. One just a little quiet with it.
What happened at the basketball game? When they ran into, you guys ran into Jay-Z?
They were just talking. They was talking amongst each other about their little white girls. Their little skinny white girls.
And I mean, did Diddy always say negative things about Jay around you?
The time he was trying to get Ja Rule to go at Jay, yeah. He was. They worked it out.
Was there a reason behind it?
I couldn't tell you the reason behind it. It was probably because Big had died. I don't know what it was, man. I don't know why he wanted Ja Rule to go at Jay. I guess if he kept them beefing or kept them into some, he could rise up in between both of them.
Amid the allegations, Jay-Z's legal team has asserted his innocence, with his attorney presenting what they claim is irrefutable evidence to distance him from Diddy's scandals. However, Jay-Z's silence following Diddy's initial arrest is drawing criticism, with some questioning why he didn't address the situation earlier.
This is not an account of inconsistencies. I wanted everybody to understand that this never happened. This is completely false. You have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline. So there's an old expression that time doesn't lie. Everything else that I'm talking about, these glaring inconsistencies, these are not minor inconsistencies. These are not minor problems with this story. This is utter falsehoods. Time never lies. And so if you look at the time, no matter what, this couldn't have happened. It's not even possible that this happened.
Now, as you heard there, Jay-Z's attorney saying that these aren't just inconsistencies in Jane Doe's case. He's saying that the entire thing is false. In fact, he says it's not even possible that Jay-Z was there. Now, if we go back to Jane Doe's initial complaint, she alleges that she was by both Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs at an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards in the year 2000. Now, this after party, she said, was held at a White House that was outside of the city. Well, Jay-Z's attorney actually showed photos of Jay-Z that night at an after party, but it was in New York City. So he says, if you look at the timeline, it's not possible that Jay-Z was in the suburbs at this alleged after party because he was photographed being somewhere else. Now, in her initial complaint, Jane Doe also said that she got to this alleged after party by getting into a limo from a driver outside of the MTV VMAs who said that they worked for Sean Combs. Well, today, Jay-Z's attorney is saying that's not possible because the limousine line was barricaded by the police and fans were not able to access it. Now, I reached out to Jane Doe's attorney. His name is Tony Busby. He says that he is representing over 120 accusers of Sean Diddy Combs. This is the first accuser to come forward and name Jay-Z, but he tells me that he stands by his client. He says that they are still vetting her, but when I asked about the vetting process, here's what he told me. He said that 4 individuals at his firm interviewed the client and checked details. He says that a background check was run on Jane Doe and that his firm actually engaged a seasoned investigator to vet some details she disclosed to us. And he said, quote, those results were consistent with what the client had told us. He also says that she has signed 2 separate affidavits, and he tells me, quote, courts exist to resolve factual disputes. Our client remains adamant about her claims.
We turn now to the latest on the allegations against Jay-Z, accused of then 13-year-old girl with Sean Diddy Combs at an after party back in 2000. Both men have denied all wrongdoing. Jay-Z's attorney holding a closed-door meeting with select members of the media yesterday, insisting, quote, this never happened.
And joining us now is ABC News contributor and attorney Brian Buckmeyer for more on this story. Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So Jay-Z's attorney has outlined what he believes are inconsistencies in the accuser's account of what happened. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so the major pillars I would say would be location, witnesses, details, and timeline. Location being that this allegedly started off in Radio City, and according to the alleged accuser, she said that she was in the car for 20 minutes before getting to Sean Combs' house where the after party was hosted, to a large white house in a U-shaped driveway. Now, if you're from the New York area and you know where Radio City is, 20 minutes in any direction does not get you to that kind of real estate. And that's what the attorney is pointing out here. Witnesses. The accuser again says that she saw specific people at that after party, but people are saying, no, this person was touring. The witnesses, the alleged accuser's own father says, I don't remember picking her up after a 5-hour drive from Rochester to New York after this night. And then details. She's saying that she watched the show on the Jumbotron, where on the VMAs of that year, there was no Jumbotron, and the timeline as to how this all could have occurred, the attorney is saying it doesn't match up based on where people were at specific times.
I'm curious your thoughts, because Jay-Z's attorney met with select members of the media. It was a closed-door meeting. What do you make of this strategy?
Well, initially, where were we in this closed meeting? That's what my thoughts are, right? But I think it's smart because this is a situation where it's not only in the court of law, but also the court of public opinion. And I think Alex, the attorney, is really pushing back on the court of public opinion to try to help the court of law arguments, because when you look at the timeline, you look at the details, yeah, there are some inconsistencies.
And the accuser has acknowledged some inconsistencies in her story. So how often does something like this happen in a case like this?
When it comes to cases where it's he said, she said, because it's so far ago, we're talking about an incident that has allegedly happened September 7th of 2000. It comes down to just the credibility of individuals. And people have issues with memory. It makes sense. I don't remember what I did on September 7th of 2000. But when some of these inconsistencies just go against the idea of just like geography, timeline, a fact that a father didn't even remember this. That's where I think there's some real issues for Tony Busby and the accuser's claims.
It's got to be a big blow for the case.
I would imagine so, but these aren't legal filings. This is just maybe a precursor to that. So we have to see what Alex Spiro ends up filing in court and what the response is from the Tony Busby and the accuser and what the court decides.
Right. You look at the language from Jay-Z's attorney, it seems they're really trying to distance themselves from Diddy at this point. How important is that relationship between these two men?
It's everything. I mean, when I first thought about this, I thought to myself, what are all the sayings that we have just in our culture about guilt by association, show me who your friends are and I'll show you who you are, birds of a feather flock together. At this point, Sean Combs is toxic from a legal standpoint in terms of his association with all of these civil lawsuits and a federal criminal investigation. So if you're a close friend of his, especially in the period of time when these allegations existed, you're definitely going to be looked at under a microscope. And so what Alex Spiro is doing is saying, hey, yeah, they're close friends, we admit that, it's public knowledge, but that friendship stops when we get to this whole freak off issues and
make that separation. Brian, thank you very much. We appreciate it and good to see you.
My pleasure.
Jane Deal isn't holding back, sharing new allegations involving Jay-Z and others. In a recent interview, he claimed to have discovered bloodstains on a bedsheet at one of Diddy's notorious parties, where Meek Mill was reportedly present. While Joan didn't directly link Meek to the stains, he hinted at sinister, unspoken events occurring behind closed doors. His revelations add another layer.
How do you feel about this Meek Mill and Diddy situation? Like Meek Mill, saying no Diddy and him getting backlash, people feeling like, he being fake because, he had a relationship with Diddy. Like, how you feel about that?
My man, I can't judge Meek Mill as a man. I don't know Meek Mill as a person. You understand? And if he wants to say no Diddy, no homo, no this, no that, that's his choice. I know a lot of Philly dudes and they strong out there, and some of my people are cool with Meek Mill. You understand? People. Some of my people are cool with Meek Mill's people. Meek Mills was a young guy, and Diddy was an influencer, and he may have influenced a lot of things that Meek Mills got caught up in the game in. Brother, I don't know Meek Mills as a man. You understand? I know some of his people through my people who knows his people. If Meek Mills want to say no Diddy, if Meek Mills want to say no homo, I don't have a problem with Meek Mill doing that. Meek Mill's got to deal with what he got to deal with based on the relationship him and Puff had. Dressing alike, being cozy, Puff calling him daddy, saying little innuendos to him. People are looking at that and saying Meek Mill is wrong for saying no Diddy. But you can't tell a man how to spend his money and how to make love to his wife or his Diddy. So, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. I just don't know.
I feel you, man. You know, I get it, man. I see where you're coming from. But I got to ask you about this party, right, that Diddy threw for Meek Mill. You heard about how the owner, she came out saying that she found used condoms, lubricant, razor blades, powder, blood on the bed sheets. You heard about this?
No, what happened was is that Diddy had rented a mansion out for Meek Mill's birthday party. And he had rented it for like $25,000. I remember we rented one of Cher's mansion out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the day he had fired his cook, but that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? It was me, Wolf, Mace, Ock. Was Ock staying there? No, just me, Wolf, Mace, Puff, and there was one other person staying in the mansion. But anyway, long story short is that they came recently. This happened a long time ago, but they recently just made a statement that they found loads of cocaine. I wonder what they did with the cocaine, because they didn't turn it over to the police. They said they found loads of cocaine, razor blades. They said that the sheets were bloody, nasty. They found a whole lot of used condoms. And it was a Diddy party, given in Meek Mill's honor for his birthday. I was like, yo, wow. They said it was disgusting the way that they left the place. So I know they got hit with another bill on top of that $25,000 and the different deposits they had to put down for cleanup and all this other stuff. It was crazy. It was one of the property managers, they had rented out a mansion. I heard about that whole story.
Amid the chaos, a woman on TikTok has accused Jane Deal of misconduct. However, Gene swiftly dismissed the claims as baseless, labeling them an attempt to undermine his credibility. He remains steadfast in his mission to expose the music industry's dark secrets, despite efforts to discredit him.
If a chick is on TikTok, YouTube, Patreon, what's the other sites? What is it? What's the other social media sites, man? Help me out, bro. Whatever social media site she on and she accusing me, all she gonna get is practice. Do you hear me? All she gonna get is practice. Practice how to be a good damn liar. But what she is doing is this, brother. And this is why I know it's set up. Check it out. There's victims out there that are real. And bro, I was just playing earlier. I heard a story. And anybody that listens to her story, they scratching their head and scratching their ass and say, how did she come up with that? Because it had nothing to do with Gene Deal. And if you give me a time, I'm going to tell you what she said. Can I just get a minute, man? Please, can I get a minute?
Oh, go for it. You got all the time in the world.
She said she was in Justin. And in Justin, it was this girl, you come in and they got couches right there. It was this girl laid out on the couch. And all the security was around her. And I think Gene Deal was there. I'm 99.9.9% that Gene Deal was there. Okay. When she came back, all the security was gone. All the bad boy people was gone, and the girl was gone too. Then she went on to say that her pocketbook came up missing. And now she tells us that I was working for Justice at that time. Her pocketbook was in the locker, but it mysteriously came up missing, where she had to go home with the manager that night. And she ended up sleeping with the manager, who was about 20 to 25 years older than her. So I'm scratching my head, wondering, where the hell did she get that I was involved in her when she decided to go home with the manager that was 20-some years old with her, than her 20 or 25 years older than her, and sleeping with him. Where was I at? Because she just said the whole security left out the bad boy. Everybody's security left out with Puff, or they left out with the girl. What she didn't know the dynamics of Justin. She didn't know that Justin's had their own security, and 9 times out of 10, the guys were armed. Puff didn't want guns in the club, and the armed guards and the guards that did him, they stayed outside because Roy ran Justin and whoever he had for security that was inside of Justin, and they wasn't armed. Now, check this out, which is crazy. She said that they found her pocketbook. She came back to Justin again, and from that point on, she had a relationship with the manager, who was over 20-some years older than her. That was her story, bro. But I want to tell this young lady like this, because she said she a victim, and I don't want to victim shame. But mama, I'm not responsible for you getting burned. I'm not responsible for you deciding to sleep with a man that's 20, 25 years older than you. And you definitely didn't see me in no Justin. I've been in Justin about 5 times, and I know every time I was in Justin. I know every time I was in Justin, sweetheart. And it definitely wasn't that time. And it definitely wasn't with Puff on that time. So, your lies, you hurting real victims. Your lies is looking and is there to plant doubt that at least half of the 120 people who say they was victimized wasn't victimized. Your lies, ma, is gonna blow up in your face like it's doing with your story. So, I'm sorry. And that's been a whole lot of years ago. And I hope you took care of your worms, because Big Gene ain't had nothing to do with it.
The revelations surrounding Diddy grow darker each day, with new allegations and strange rituals emerging. One of the most shocking claims is that the disgraced music mogul allegedly performed a bird sacrifice ritual just before the 1999 nightclub shooting verdict. This unsettling detail has sparked outrage and disbelief on social media, with many questioning how far Diddy was willing to go in trying to manipulate events or outcomes in his favor. The controversy continues to intensify.
Behind Diddy, he did a prayer where a bird died the day of the verdict.
Well, first of all, the Shine documentary, it was kind of emotional for me, bro, doing it, because they brought up Wolf's mother, right? Wolf's mother has always been an intricate part of helping Shine through his prison system, right? So, when we were on our way to court, I knew that they were setting Shine up to take the fall. When Shine decided to get his own lawyers I knew that they was going to set Sean up to take the fall, which by right, he should have took the fall. But they shouldn't have helped by giving the prosecution witnesses to testify against Sean. See, these cats want to act like they didn't know that Puff was helping witnesses with jobs. They was getting witnesses with the street team and certain people in the security, bringing it and giving it to the prosecutor. These guys in the industry want to act like that they didn't know that Puff helped send Sean to jail, because the prosecution didn't have enough evidence. You understand? They did not have enough evidence. And the evidence they had probably would have sent all three of them to jail, because all three of them, Anthony Wolf Jones, Sean John Combs, and Sean Barrows, what's his first name? Whatever Barrows, they all had the same charge. They all had the same charge, bro. But when those people from the street team to the security brought the people who said that they saw Sean shoot, who they said there was a witness against Sean, that helped free Wolf and Puff from any charges and any wrongdoing. You hear me? That helped free Wolf and Puff from any wrongdoing. So now, before we get to the courts, me and Puff stops in the Central Park and we walk towards the boathouse. And I'm wondering where we going, bro. You know what I'm saying? We're in the park. I'm wondering where we going. And as we going towards the boathouse, I look in the distance and it's this man in all black. He's in all black. And he turns and it looked like he had the white collar. I couldn't be sure, I couldn't be positive, but it looked like he had the white collar, because Puff said, yo, G, stay right here. And I stayed right there, and he kept on walking. So when Puff gets directly to the dude, he gets down on his knees. When he gets down on his knees, this man takes something, and it seemed like it had smoke in it, and he started doing it around Puff. Then he went back and forth. And then he went up and down with it, sideways with it, then back around him. And then he put it down. And then he put his hand on Puff's head, and I guess he started, saying something. I don't even really know what he said, but I couldn't tell what he said. You understand what I'm saying? Long story short, I see Puff reach into this case. And when he reached into this case, he came out and you could see something white in his hand. I didn't know it was a bird. I didn't know what it was at first. But he threw it up in the air. And when he threw it in the air, the came straight back down like it was a brick and said, pow, on the concrete. And I was like, oh, that was a dove, that was a bird. Puff just got up. Puff just looked at the dude and just started walking towards me. And I was like, oh, and he's getting closer, and he's getting closer. As he's getting closer to me, in my mind, in my cynical mind, I'm just like this. I'm thinking about Jason. I'm thinking about Damien and all that shit. And that just, he just walked past me. He didn't even say nothing like, come on, G, let's go or nothing. He just walked past me and I just started walking with him. And I just said to myself, damn, that Damien.
What do you think? Is Jane Deal a whistleblower or a man with a vendetta? Will Jay-Z come out unscathed, or is this just the beginning? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're here for all the drama, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more explosive music industry secrets. Until next time, fam, keep it locked.